Bitcoin could be on the edge of a potentially very big breakout all the way up to the mid $80,000 range, and I want to break down for you exactly what I'm seeing inside of this YouTube video. So take a look at what ended up happening here. If you've been watching this channel for a while, just actually a few days, you're going to know that Bitcoin actually had a little bit of resistance in this range, which I was mentioning could be a problem for Bitcoin. But one of the key points that I was saying on this YouTube channel is that I really want to see Bitcoin come back down to test this red line right here, because this was our previous area of support, and that's exactly what happened, and the market started to get a bounce up from there. If we look at this on a smaller time frame, we can really start to see that the market topped out at pretty much where I was saying as we approached that $59,000-$60,000 level. We've actually obviously got some of that 4-hour Ichimoku support very, very close right here. We're already trading inside of daily EMA resistance as well, so there's still a lot of resistance that was weighing on Bitcoin here. A lot of people were getting very bullish as Bitcoin was pushing this high, but of course we were able to retain perspective with this 4-slice channel, and then we also called this pump right here, because while Bitcoin's trading all the way down here, I mentioned to you that I'd love to see Bitcoin get rejected up here and find support down here and then continue the blast off, and so far we are doing that. So I'm going to talk to you about how I think this can take Bitcoin up to $85,000 with a slightly longer term chart as well. But first, let's talk about what's happening right down here. This red line was a previous area of support for the market, and if we zoom out and take a closer look at exactly what level this is the $56,000 area of support. We were using it as support very nicely recently in this trend. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 hits of this level as support, and now a further 5th hit as well. But we also saw this level flip into resistance down here, where we ended up attacking it from the downside, moving up, finding a rejection and moving back down, but then we formed that glorious W shape and we had the breakout right there, which is absolutely amazing, because we have now confirmed for us that the market wanted to drop back down into this range. But I was telling you that, guys, my point of failure for this market, where I would genuinely become a lot more bearish, is if we lose this red line or this orange line just below it, which is only about $500 lower. But really the key line to pay attention to, in my opinion, is this red one right here. Fortunately, we didn't lose it. We bounced right off it. So those of you who are subscribed, you're really going to be getting an idea for the level of accuracy we've been having in this market lately, which has been absolutely phenomenal. If you've been enjoying that and finding these videos useful, do me a favor and smash up the likes on this video right here for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well if you haven't done so already. Tick the bell, do all that good stuff. But now that we did get this support hit right here, I am a lot more optimistic about Bitcoin trading in this trend. But there are still some negative signs, some signs that could potentially be a little bit dangerous, which could stop Bitcoin from getting up to that $85,000 area. And I will get to that in just a second. But the thing is that we are very much in play in this range at the moment. One of the things that I think could be holding Bitcoin back a little bit is actually this descending triangle line right here, which is another level that I was warning you guys about when Bitcoin is trading back here. I was basically saying that if Bitcoin manages to rise back up here, this previous descending triangle line that we had, which I was showing you on this channel, could come back into play over here and give us a rejection, which is pretty much exactly what happened. Especially when we zoom out, we can see quite clearly that we did get a rejection here. We had a small fake out above, but then just fell right back down. This is something that could continue to play its effect on the market, but I'm not actually too optimistic about that, because first of all, let me just extend this all the way down. For those of you who don't know, by the way, a descending triangle is essentially something in the market where we are holding the same support level. Now obviously we fell below, but this was quite clearly a fake out now, because we weren't trading here for a long time. Let's just measure this. Actually, we were here for about 2.5 days. That is actually a long time in my opinion, but we ended up reversing it and screwing over a lot of traders in this move. And obviously, if you're not aware of how this goes, you can lose money on these kind of moves. But actually, fortunately, I was able to profit on the move down and then close the position completely before the move back up as well, which was absolutely great. But we are basically going to be holding the same level of support in these descending triangles. However, the resistance is going to be moving down and down and down, which is generally a sign that the market is essentially, it's imagine, there's a ceiling above you and it's slowly moving down and down and down until it crushes your head and you get squashed down. And, theoretically in these, the floor would cave and the market would have to crash by quite a large amount. And This is a very common pattern in the market, which is why I take them very seriously, right? When they happen to the upside, I take them seriously. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you're going to know that very well. And if they happen to the downside, of course, I also take them very seriously. So here's another example right here where we had exactly the same thing playing on the market, where the market was forming lower highs, but keeping the same level of support. We did have fake outs, just like what we had, basically 2 days ago. But for the most part, we were respecting the same floor. And then when we ended up falling below it, we catapulted below, traded sideways, and dropped below again before this massive scam, 2 daily candles right here, which screwed over everybody and their nan inside the market. But again, a very, very common pattern to be seeing in these markets, right? Another time that we had this same pattern playing out in the market was around over here. We had a descending triangle that looked a little bit like this. And of course, you guys know what happened. Bitcoin ended up falling from here and managed to crash from 6,000 down to 3,000, which is actually something that I was trading. I made a 60% profit on this drop and was actually anticipating this drop as well. So we've been around for a long time keeping that accuracy. You guys know all about the sale that I was running inside of Forflies VIP. It's actually just ended. It was minus 68% off. So shout out to those of you who are already in VIP or who took this opportunity to jump in on the other side. You were already going through the amazing content that we had. If you missed it, no problem. You can still join, but obviously the discount is gone now. Still, you're very much, great value-based service. You're getting a lot for what you pay with that entry ticket. So if you are interested, you already know it's the first link in the description down below. But moving us back to the chart right here, this is why I am taking this descending triangle seriously on the short-term time frames. However, the other thing that I want to draw to your attention is that we don't actually generally trade all the way up to the apex where the two lines meet. That's what we call the apex. We don't generally trade up to them. We're generally going to kind of, if this is the descending triangle, or right angle triangle from math class, you're generally only going to be, you are probably going to be breaking out around, this at this section of the resistance is generally when you see the breakouts to the upside, or equally to the downside. You'll generally, my point is we're in that window right now. Now, the thing that's concerning about this is that this actually lines up with the Ichimoku cloud that's providing us resistance. Look at this on the 4-hour time frame. Our resistance cloud just cuts right through this level, which is basically me saying that if Bitcoin is trading here this time tomorrow, we're going to be in very heavy resistance. So it's going to be a test, and just going off this indicator, it's not a good thing. Bitcoin's in a lot of trouble. Now, I don't want to. I want to be more bullish than that. I really don't think that Bitcoin is actually going to continue trending down despite all of the resistance that we're seeing. If you look at the sentiment in the market, for example, it's been very low. Let me just update this really quick. We're still in fearful territory, even though Bitcoin saw quite a sizable pump. It has been trending up. We are definitely feeling a little bit of relief, but we're not. I don't think that we recovered hugely. I think a lot of people are still a little bit worried, and so generally I would be a lot more bearish if we were approaching a resistance level, but people were still feeling greedy. People were still feeling very much in that neutral territory, which is the last time, when I was talking about the market over here getting a further drop, people were a lot more bullish back here than they are now at the same price level, right? So it's a weird one. The resistance is heavy, and I can't ignore this. This is why I'm not taking up long positions right now. I just don't think it's sensible, because this resistance is a really, really big area, right? From its widest point right here, it's stretching between about $56,000 and $61,000. This is a huge range. This is a $5,000 area of resistance. It's like 9% of price action. Let me just measure this really quick. Yeah, about that 8.7% of price action, all as resistance. My god, it is bloody strong. But the thing is, like I said, we usually don't trade all the way up to this apex, so I think we're going to get a breakout soon. And because of this strong move, now look, we didn't get strong volume, but the move itself I think was pretty strong. I want to stay optimistic and say that we can break out into this range. It could be that we break out above this descending triangle resistance, we trade in the cloud, and then we get rejected, fall back down to support, but then tackle this cloud again. And just simply because we did so well in the cloud the first time, we might be able to expect a lot of strength when we attack it the second time, because this is showing essentially the bears that while there should be resistance, we're not finding it, and that would be a sign that actually they should back off and the bulls are going to have their gonna have their chance to shine, which obviously, I mean, the larger term time frames are showing us that we are in that place right now and the bulls should be having their chance to shine. We already got a really nice breakout from the support cloud right here, where we traded inside the cloud and inside my big box of support for Bitcoin. We fell down very much to, I mean, exactly the bottom of the support range that I was seeing for Bitcoin. Not on this chart, maybe on this chart right here. Yep, on this chart right here. We dropped to the exact area of support that I was looking for, which is that 53K range where we set that prior swing high. So, you know, on these longer time frames, I think we're actually looking really, really good. And speaking of that, I want to show you how I came to this $85,000 level. Now, the first thing I want to show you is that Bitcoin has been trading in this kind of large parallel channel. Let me actually just draw this on a different chart so that it's not confusing. Bear with me. Before I get to that, I also want to quickly point out to you that I was talking to you guys about this falling wedge in the market, where the market was trending up and then entered a falling wedge where the price was narrowing and moving to the downside. And this is generally a big breakout sign that we're going to move up, and that's purely because it's going in line with that same kind of staircase pattern that I mentioned, where we move in the direction of the trend, then we cool off, which is right here, and then we continue trading up again. And the reason that we cool off, it's very important that you guys understand this. I try and go very in depth on this channel, but still keeping it simple enough so, you know, the layman can understand it. The reason that we really need these cool off periods in this market right here, or in any market, is to give the bears a controlled chance to sell off, so that we exhaust the supply, which basically avoids big market crashes like this, right? When you're not getting these really, you know, good corrections in the market like what we have right now. I mean, to be fair, we were getting some corrections like right here, but when we stop getting them, like around over here, we're just not getting huge corrections, or around over here, we're just on this whole leg up right here, no real correction for Bitcoin, right? And that means that there's a lot of selling pressure that gets pent up and essentially frustrated, and eventually it needs to release and it just crashes the market. And you guys may or may not remember when this happened, but this is the first time Bitcoin ever passed $40,000. It crashed very, very quickly, down by 26%, because the sellers just didn't have a chance to offload their positions on the rally up, so they all panicked on the way down. You know, it's precisely when we get corrections like this, which happen, you know, in a controlled manner over time, they allow us to exhaust the supply so that it's only people who are bullish remaining in the market, which means that you have no more Bitcoin to sell and only demand to bolster the market higher, which is why I think that these ranges are so important. You know, that's why I always am an advocate for the market moving up in a controlled, healthy manner. And you know, obviously a lot of people just don't like those ideas because they're moon boys. They got their astronaut costumes out and they just want to be moving up in a staircase to heaven forever because they think that's how life works, but it's not. But the key thing about this pattern right here is that we were forming this falling wedge really nicely. We then managed to get quite a real breakout above it. If you look at the breakout point right here and we measure this up, we are up by about 3%, which is generally, I mean, the upper range for what people would consider to be a confirmed breakout. And then we've actually come back down to test this area as support. So previously, this is the part that's really important, Bitcoin was finding resistance along this line. We now, just today, we're able to find support off this line and we're bouncing up. And if we look at this on the daily time frame, because of that, we've actually formed what's called a bullish hammer, which is where the wick shows us that the candle is traded much lower, but then we recovered that price action and we're trading back up. So that's what these candle shapes are called, is a bullish hammer. You can Google it as well. That's what it means. But anyway, the key thing that I want to bring to your attention just here is the Ichimoku cloud, the fact that Bitcoin managed to get this breakout, and then this parallel channel that I'm going to draw for you all right now. How do I draw this? I don't want to delete everything on this chart. Let me pull up a different Bitcoin chart altogether, because I quite like this Bitcoin chart that I've drawn. I'll just show you this on this naked chart, where Bitcoin has essentially been in you know, a kind of parallel channel that looks a little bit like this. And I gotta, yep, bam, there we go. And this can kind of put into perspective for us where Bitcoin might be able to rise. It's just showing us that generally Bitcoin has been conforming to this kind of sideways parallel channel, not sideways, diagonal parallel channel. It's been drawn better on this chart so you can get a better idea of what this looks like. And the whole idea here is that Bitcoin will trade from the top of this range down to the bottom inside of descending channels, this big channel that we're in is called an ascending channel. It's gaining, it's an ascending channel, but then inside of it, we have a series of descending channels. So I'll draw them for you. And the whole point here is, we're going to have these kind of descending channels that take us down to the bottom of the range. But every time we hit the bottom of the range, we're generally getting nice pumps to the upside. So that's kind of, that's what this chart right here. And, obviously I haven't drawn this perfectly. The chart was given to me by my lead analyst inside of Forflies VIP, and he's a little bit more neat than I am. But the point is very much the same, where we're in this large ascending channel, which is, just showing us that we're in a bullish trend. We're setting higher lows and higher highs. But inside of that, we're in little bear trends constantly. And then we break out of those bear trends. We have big breakouts, 56% here. And then we form another descending channel here. We trade all the way down to the bottom of this with wider ascending channel again. And then look, we get another 57% breakout all the way to the upside. And now we're in another descending channel, which potentially is giving us a rise to another, potentially, roughly 55% breakout, which is, if you look at the price levels here, just going to put us right between $80,000 and $88,000. This is probably closer to $83,000, $84,000, mid 80s, like I said, which is very, very exciting for Bitcoin. And it makes a lot of sense, right? I don't think it's really, it is quite a real coincidence. I think that Bitcoin managed to bounce off the same support area in this ascending channel, but then also get the same pump as well, plus 56, plus 57, potentially leading into a similar gain this time around as well, which is what I find to be very exciting in this market. I think that the market deserves that after a correction like what we're in right now, and it lines up with a lot of the other analysis pieces that I've been delivering to you guys on this YouTube channel as well. That's what I really want you guys to retain a perspective of. I think that a lot of people are really getting sucked quite deep into the fear in this market. Guys, please also let me know if you're seeing the video freeze up a bit. I think that you are, so I'm just going to minimize this again. I'm not sure what's causing that, but I am using a different camera setup. It's way better than the previous webcam I had. I actually still have this webcam. I actually just want to flip between the two and get your thoughts on this. So here's my current setup, and here is my old one. And this is what I used to be using, but you can see that the background behind me is not as clear as this right here. The background is way clearer. You can see all the anyway, you get my point. Just drop it in the comments. Is it worth using the new setup or this one with no latency? But then back to the video. Anyway, I'm going to flip to the other webcam for the rest of this video. Back to the rest of this topic right here. What I want to just make very clear to you guys, I think that a lot of people are losing their perspective on this, is that the market is still in a pretty good place long term. The short-term market is going to flip a lot. It's very volatile, of course, but that shouldn't necessarily make you lose your view of the long-term scale of what's going on. A lot of people will, and that's why they tend to lose money. So that's what I'm aiming to avoid doing inside of this video, and that's why I've still been able to retain my bullish perspective all the way since the top down here, but become short-term bearish and actually make money on the downside as well. Now, the other thing that I want to bring to your attention, which really caught my eye today, was Shiba. It's managed to pump up hugely just to an area of resistance right here, which is absolutely spectacular. We actually got a slightly higher breakout just now. The resistance was at this red line right here, and it was literally just in the past 20 minutes that we got a breakout. Shiba right now is trading in a quite serious area of resistance, in my opinion, that looks a little bit like this. This is an area where previously the price was able to get big bounces from, and also savage rejections. So this is something that I am really taking quite seriously at the moment. If I see that it's a good opportunity to go short, that would be very interesting to me, because you know how much I hate coins like this, and you know how much, by extension of that, I love making money off them. But I do have to put my ego to the side right here, because it's actually potentially in an extremely bullish place right now. If you look at this kind of falling wedge pattern that I actually wanted to cover with you guys in yesterday's video, but I just didn't think it would be so important. Clearly I was wrong about that. Shiba was actually forming a quite nice bullish pattern right here, which is exactly the same pattern I'm talking about in Bitcoin, where we make a big move up and then we take our time to cool off and the trend narrows, and then bam, we get the explosion. And this explosion has been really big, right? I mean, from the breakout point to the current price, we're up by 35% in a day. This is huge price action. And the key thing that I'm looking for right now is seeing if Shiba can actually break these areas of resistance. And so the resistance that I'm seeing on this chart right here is, first of all, in this green box between the 52 and 5400 area. And again, please bear in mind the denomination of the dollar that we're in. I mean, these are very, very, very small amounts of $1. I'm just saying 5200 for the sake of simplicity. It's not actually $5200, but if we're able to break this area of resistance, the very next one that I'm seeing will be up here, stretching between 61 and 6600. And this, I think, is not as important as the area of resistance we're in right now. I do think that if Shiba can clear this resistance, it's probably going to be able to rise up to the next one, which is a huge range to trade. And you guys know I like to make my life easy. I like to trade easy ranges. The only real reason that I'm not going to trade this range, it is a nice 13% move. That's bloody huge. The main reason I don't actually want to trade this is it has just kind of gone in rocket ship mode, and I've just kind of been taught almost like a reflex at this point, you know, when you touch something hot like a cooking stove, to instantly move your hand away. That's how I feel about rallies like this right now, because yeah, you know, I mean, if you jack yourself off to this kind of price action, you might make some money for a few days, but the chances of losing money are so astronomically high that to me, it's just not worth the risk. However, if I start to see that this coin cools off, if it gets a rejection here, it trades back down to support, and then it attacks this resistance again, we do something like this, that to me would be enough to tell me, like, let's say it forms a little bit of a falling wedge down to the support area, then hits this resistance, maybe it falls down again just a little bit and then attacks the resistance again, and by this point we're in the middle of December, you know, that would be enough of a cool down for me to then say, actually, yeah, you know, this has formed an ascending triangle where the support is getting higher while resistance ceilings stay the same, and then eventually we manage to break up because we're being pushed to the upside, and then I would start to say that actually this looks a lot safer. But just right now, while it's in such an aggressive move up, I'm not too interested in it, but it is something that I want to put on your radar. Ethereum has continued its breakout as well. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm now strategizing how I want to play this. It's flying up right now very quickly. This is absolutely great. So you know, when I said that I sold my Ethereum, I only sold half, so I am still running with the other half of my position that I bought down here, anticipating a breakout. Took some profits right here. I did want to buy back at lower levels. Unfortunately, I don't think I got that chance, but I am looking at buying it back, and I've already kind of put together a strategy which is going to be shared inside of VIP very soon. So again, that is the first link in the description down below. If you haven't already checked it out, definitely make sure that you do. Against the dollar, doing well. It's actually trading close to all-time highs at the moment, which is absolutely fantastic. The previous all-time highs were about 4,900, so it's much closer to its all-time highs than Bitcoin is at the moment, which is showing you its strength against Bitcoin. And overall, yeah, I think the rest of the altcoin market could be looking good soon. I mean, Cardano hasn't managed to rise up yet. I think it will. It's just hit my key area of support that I outlined for you guys. I might be trading this as well. I do have plans for a lot of different trades inside of this market, and I will keep you all up to date on how I want to do that in these videos right here. So guys, you know what to do. If you have enjoyed this video, I think my camera is messing up again, but if you have, you know exactly what to do. Please do me a favor and smash up those likes, subscribe, and tick the bell if you have enjoyed this video, if you think it was worth those clicks for the algorithm to make sure that you see more of these videos and that I can grow this YouTube channel as well. If you want to sign up to Bybit, which is the only exchange that I use in my trading these days, then you can do that by clicking on the link to Bybit in the description down below. My internet connection is absolutely terrible right now, so I can't even load up the page, but it is the only exchange I've been using for a while, and I've been partnered with them for a long time, for years, so really have built quite a good relationship with them. You know, one of the key reasons I tell you guys to also you know, use my link, get the free money, because you're getting it up to $3,500 for free when you use my sign up link. One of the other reasons that I tell you guys about this is because if you ever have a problem and you've used my referral link and you have a problem with Bybit, you can come to me and I will personally make sure, and the way you message me is just the first link in the description. I will personally make sure that your issues are taken seriously, they're being prioritized, and obviously if you have real money on the line, that's quite important that you can get that kind of special treatment and you don't just get funneled straight into, you know, a ticket system where it takes days for a response and stuff like that. I will personally make sure your issue is taken seriously, which is another one of those underrated benefits. And it's not just me, other YouTubers will do this for you as well. It's just that I have a round the clock team that monitors every single message I get, so that if I miss it, you still get a response, and that kind of guarantees that, you know, you guys can still talk to me if you want to. Now, I think the picture quality is terrible here. Unfortunately, that's a real shame. I was very excited to be using this a lot more. Let me just bring my other webcam back. Sorry for all the confusion. Please do give me your feedback on the webcam situation down below, because I really do want to use the other one, but the latency thing is getting me, so I might have to I don't know how I can fix that, but I will give it a think and strategize something. Anyway, guys, hope you have enjoyed this one. Again, you know what to do, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.